The following is a list of Moors who have been kidnapped and are being held for a demand of income. The demand of income is being made by against the family, as well as through fraudulent submissions of documents alleging that they are caring for the people in some sort of long-term care fashion. These Moors have been kidnapped literally off the streets by employees of various corporations that are guised as county, city, town, township, borough. These names that we have all been mentally conditioned to believe are government are not. They are exactly what they say they are. They are municipal corporations. And as such, if you do the research, you will find that they are foreign corporations on American soil. Therefore, they do not have standing nor jurisdiction to make a demand of income from the Aboriginal Indigenous people or any people on American soil. This making their actions criminal. However, as Moors, we must bring these crimes to the forefront via civil complaints against the unalienable constitutional treaty secured rights of the people, Aboriginal Indigenous Moors of this land. So we start out with our sister RVBey, who was kidnapped through a joint venture between Memphis Corporation and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. Now, we say under the purview of Tennessee, which is a union state, because every union state is bound and obligated to protect the people from foreign and domestic invasion. We then have Daoud Ill under the purview of Arkansas. And if we don't have the municipal corporation that actually did the kidnapping, then we just reference the union state that is bound and obligated to protect the people. We have Amir Moslemin Ill and Kusu Ra Kushbey under the purview of Missouri. We have Asar Patan Amin Ra Bey under the purview of Ohio. We have Jeremy Paler Ill, Terry Thorne Bey, J. Mikal Brooks Bey, Joseph Kanaday Ill, Kush Amir Bunch Ill, Emmanuel Billings Bey, Yassin Khalik Alamin Ill, Michael Curry Bey, all being held under the purview of North Carolina. Noble Crisco Ill under the purview of New Jersey. Messiah Aziz Ill and Crystal Ill, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We're still waiting on an update of the infant baby of Patricia Bey, which was kidnapped by the Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. We have Eldridge Teron Fisher Ill and Martise Sevion Ill under the purview of Indiana. Solomon Ill Bey and Mumi Abu Bey under the purview of Texas. William Barrett Ill under the purview of Virginia. Bomani Abidwil Ill, kidnapped by the Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia. Chere Bey, kidnapped under the purview of West Virginia. Thomas Lee Bey, kidnapped under the purview of California. Victor Eduardo Evaye Juarez Ill, kidnapped by Harlem Corporation under the purview of Georgia. And then last but not least, I have one last more. Twain Bey, kidnapped. Let's see, I'm not sure if I have the information of who. Oh, kidnapped by Harnett Corporation under the purview of North Carolina. So there we have Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage by employees of various corporations on American soil, which is a violation of the American Constitution, and it is a treaty violation. And being that we are talking about Moorish Americans, Aboriginal indigenous to this land, who are being kidnapped by foreign employees of a foreign corporation on American soil, this makes this an international issue, because you have two nations with one nation warring against another. Therefore, this is an international issue. If you have a family member, near or far, within your immediate family, or one of the family that you know and you would like them added to this list, please send an email to MHHS-Eyes-Wide-Open@gmail.com. In the subject line, put kidnapped Moor, and please provide us with their free national appellation, the municipal corporation that the employee is operating through that kidnapped them, along with the union state that this corporation is in purview to. All righty. Thank you very much.
Islam, welcome to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. This is your host, Anita L., along with my co-host, Ms. Ryan Olive L.
Peace and love, Morris. Peace and love, Anna E. Good night, good evening, good day, etc.
And RVBey.
Islam, peace and love. I am here. How are you?
All right. And Cujo is listening, but he won't be joining in unless he decides to. He's busy taking care of some things.
Okay.
Let's see. Today is the 13th of September, and today's broadcast is going to be a Freestyle Tuesday. We haven't done that in a while. So we're going to do a Freestyle Tuesday today. This is an opportunity for the people to put issues on the table that is important to our listening audience as well as to us. So please join us and let us hear your thoughts. And so with that, who has an issue? Who would like to begin?
I don't mind starting off. Since it's Freestyle Tuesday and we're just talking about, random topics, when I want to talk about that caught my eye within the past week, it was an article in the press of Atlantic City. And I shared this with y'all earlier today, but, just to talk about it to the family real briefly. It was an article in the press of Atlantic City, and to me, it kind of, if you could read behind or between the lines, this is a perfect example of jealousy and hatred. Those that are around you that may have certain jealous attributes for you when you are doing what we call your thing. It could be dangerous, which is why, I feel as though, and not to be in my feelings about it, but that certain lessons that Noble Dry Lee left, even because they're just based in natural law, even if we don't master them all this lifetime, that is something we should endeavor into understanding or understanding. And, that first principle being love. Facts, straight up and down. So I kind of want to talk about this story because it also correlated with what Noble Drew Ali was speaking about as far as, being in these European schools. So I'll just bring it, I'm going to read it from the beginning. Okay, so this was about a 29-year-old sister who was going to college. She was excelling, doing her thing while she was in there. So I'll read it. 10-year-old misdemeanor calls lauded Cumberland graduate. It says, for the last 2 years, Gianni Garcia was living her dream. After losing her job and making the decision to go back to college in 2014, she threw herself into life at Cumberland County College, serving on the Student Senate, acting as a student representative on the Presidential Search Committee, and working part-time at the college as a receptionist. So there goes 3 attributes all surrounded around the school right there. Excuse me. Then student mentor and tutor, that's 5. In May, the 29-year-old mother of 3 graduated with the 3.48 grade point average, membership in the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, and an Economic Opportunity Fund Outstanding Academic Award. This is the list of her attributes. She's like 10 things in right now. She was chosen as the alumna to serve on the college's, to serve on the college's board of trustees this year. So that was another notch under her belt as far as doing her thing in this particular school. Right? So just this year, she was elected to serve on the board of trustees at the college. Right? Now that was in May. Then in August, the bottom fell out. Garcia got a short letter from the college saying it had run a criminal background check on her that revealed a misdemeanor disorderly persons offense from 2005. Mind you, 2016, that's 11 years, right? So on her 2014 job application, Garcia had checked the box saying she had no criminal record. For that, she was fired, all right? So, I guess they saw she was coming up. She was doing her thing. She was making all types of accomplishments in this particular school or society or college. And I guess, since for the main part, those are their institutions, she came up to serve on the board of trustees. Somebody wanted to check her out, right? And came back with that. So, all right, so they found a disorderly persons offense on the jacket. Now, so-called New Jersey, they make a distinguishment between disorderly persons and criminal offenses. It's a distinguishment. Though from time to time they try to treat them as the same, in all reality, in all law, really, she really didn't have a criminal background. But check it out. So Garcia had checked the box saying she had no criminal record. For that, she was fired. She says, I really thought after 10 years that charge didn't count anymore, she said. I had put that behind me and turned my life around. I made a mistake. Garcia not only lost her job, but her cherished appointment as the alumni trustee. Now, mind you, this is a sister, a melanated sister, all right? And I already read off the achievements that she had. So you can imagine the jealousy that was coming in or that was surrounding her from the Europeans or European-minded people, you know what I mean? Or pilgrim-minded people, if you will. So Garcia not only lost her job, but her cherished appointment as the alumni trustee, a role that included being featured in July on the college website in the story titled, You Can Go Back Again. She said, that hurt the most because I worked hard for that. I earned it, she said. Garcia says she tried to contact college officials for a meeting to explain herself, but with no success. People she thought were her mentors and friends at the college and whom she listed on her resume as references have either not returned her calls or said they cannot discuss the matter. Her plight is tragic but not uncommon. While background checks typically go back 7 years, they can go back farther and long-buried offenses can resurface. The Opportunity to Compete Act, which took effect in 2015, prohibits employers from asking for criminal background information on the first job application. Though it can be requested later, the law is an effort to allow those with the record to at least get a better chance at jobs. Now, we know that acts are really not law, but I'm just reading you the article verbatim. It says, recent laws also have made it easier for people with misdemeanor disorderly persons charges, mind you, it's not really a criminal offense, right, to get their records expunged. Assemblyman Chris Brown for Atlantic County, a sponsor of one bill, said it is for people like Garcia that his bill was intended. Having worked as a municipal prosecutor and judge, Brown said he had seen many cases of young people making one stupid mistake that trails them through their lives. This is an exact example of the reason I pushed for that bill, he said, by phone. This type of situation is exactly what I was trying to resolve. Rosemary Fiskus, Executive Director of Human Resources, Public Safety and Compliance at Cumberland County College, said in an email, we do not discuss individual cases, but do have a board policy that states every employee is required to have a background screening. Garcia doesn't deny the charge, though she wonders why it is coming up 2 years after she began working there. She said she often spoke publicly on behalf of the college about how she had turned her life around as a high school dropout, and many at the college were aware of her struggles. The incident on her record happened when she was 18 and staying with a family member who was a drug addict, so she rarely spent time at the house. She said 3 days before Christmas, she and people she was with broke into a building to keep warm and were caught. I just want to say right there, it's a maxim that necessity overrides law. That's a fact. Necessity overrides law. And, you know, if she really understood her connection to this land, that the right of entry, you know, can't be made void of, because, you know, this is the ancestral state of Moors. This is a Moorish sister. We know the Spaniards branded our people basically on the islands, and the English did such, you know, in the North Continent, more or less. So, yeah, hold on, pardon me. Oh, yeah, so 3 days before Christmas, she and people she was with broke into, quote-unquote, broke into a building to keep warm and were caught. She said, we didn't take anything, she said. We were just looking for somewhere to get out of the cold. Garcia got her GED high school diploma and first enrolled at the college in 2010. Then a mother of two and a victim of domestic violence, she struggled and dropped out to work to support her family. When she lost her factory job, she decided to return to college in 2014. She loved it there, appreciated the support she got, worked hard to succeed, and was happy to promote and help the college. What changed about me from the person they chose for the honors and awards, she asked. When I won something, we all won. But when I lost alone. In the article about her on the college website, the college's new president, Yvaz Solomon Fernandez, is quoted as saying, one of the most remarkable attributes of Cumberland County College is that we never give up on our students. We are proud of Gianni's accomplishments in hope that others will read her story and be inspired to come back. Garcia hopes others will now read her new story and realize how easily something good can be taken away. She says she can be outspoken and questioning, an attribute that was once appreciated. Now she wonders if she angered someone at the college. Of course she did. Somebody was hating or jealous of all the things she was doing, all the achievements she had, all and you know, getting a position on the board of trustees. I'm pretty sure it was probably either, you know, a pilgrim daughter or son who was like, nah, you're not just going to come up in our institution like that, because she excelled rapidly. And mind you, this is a Moorish sister, right? So, yeah, I think that, you know, somebody was jealous of that. So, yeah, so she says now she wonders if she angered someone at the college who was able to use her mistake against her. Akil Roper of Legal Services of New Jersey said in an email that the best chance for employment is through open and honest communication about criminal background and qualifications for the job. It might be harder to communicate to an employer if they feel a prospective employee lied on an application, even if it was an inadvertent omission, she said. Garcia said she was denied unemployment benefits because she wasn't working enough hours at the college and is relying on a boyfriend who has supported her college attendance for help while she looks for another job. She hopes to attend Rowan University starting in January to complete a degree in law and justice studies. So, you know, I hope that sister finds her way to de jure law, you know, opposed to color of law, and realize, you know, she potentially has a major suit on her hands because a quote-unquote disorderly persons is not a crime. And you know, what she did isn't a crime. It wasn't even really disorderly persons. So, you know, we're putting that out into the universe. Hopefully this sister finds the right path or the straight path, you know, to get her integrity back, you know, reputation and things of that nature. Okay. Yeah, so she hopes to attend Rowan University starting in January to complete a degree in law and justice studies. She'd like to be a lawyer. But right now, I have nothing, she said. I just wish they would have heard me out. I knew these people, and they never gave me a chance. It was just so cold. That's the story. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about, but what's your feedback on that? Do you think somebody was jealous because she was rapidly excelling with all of these positions? Do you think, you know, oh, well, shame on her, she shouldn't have been in those institutions? Like, what are your thoughts on that? No.
Well, I would say that when you're dealing in a system that and a group of people who comprise that system and the propaganda and the media and that this is what you are to do, be, and become, and those people come from a conquest intent, because we know that they do, their position also is that they're better than you, that you're lesser than them, and their intent is to conquest. So no, they're not going to want to see. This is what people call racism, but let's call it. Let's get to what it really is. They're not going to want to see you achieve. Now, in these days and times, all of that is more prominent now because many people are being forced, of course, to make changes, but many people and many of these corporations and institutions, they are falling. They are losing finance, which is their whole thing, is to get finance off of the people. So they're going to be in full swing with their underlying conquesting superior mindset and position. We have to recognize that. And then when we try to so-called be successful under these guys or these guidelines, this is where we kind of fall short as well, because we are not aware of what the true success is for ourselves, or moving forward is for ourselves. Well, we don't realize what we're dealing with, and we've been propagandized to believe that, the achievements. Now, as far as the intellect and the ability to make achievements on whatever that endeavor is, yeah, we have that, and the sister displayed that. But the other thing to look at is, like you said, and we really need to wake up, they called her a criminal. All of the people that have been charged with something and are in jail today are in there on what they say is a crime, but it's not a crime. So they've set up a pseudo system of that. And then you've got most of our people who are blind as heaven. Oh, no, not heaven. I wanted to say hell. They believe that it is a crime because someone said so, because they don't know what a crime is. And so we've been going by this system, so now she gets as far as she gets. And then they try to bring up something that's not even a crime and then call her a criminal. We were talking today about that. Listen, this is what they're doing, especially to the younger people or the people who don't know. That's why it's so important to get this information into them, is that they'll charge you. I'm going to go to the extreme. Let's say with a crime, with murder. They'll take the young people and say, okay, sign here. I want you to plead guilty. No, let me see. They'll charge them with something that's not a crime. I got that backwards. Then they'll say, I want you to sign here and plead guilty to it. Now, what they're pleading guilty to may be a high charge, according to them. So they'll sign and agree and make a plea, and then they'll give them all these programs and stuff. Meanwhile, the record shows that they're a criminal. Just like with this girl right here, that they're a criminal. So therefore, if you're a criminal, then you can't have this position, this job, this whatever. You're not trusted or whatever like that. But the truth is they never did anything that was a crime in the first place, but they plead to it, and then they're under the jurisdiction, of whatever the program may be. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because we don't know law. We don't know when we're being violated. But not just that, we're not aware of what's really going on with these people who claim to be government, who claim to be the law. They're not. I mean, if there ever was an example of he shall fool even the most elite, we are living in it. Big time. I mean, really big time. So that's what their MO has been for a while. They've spent a lot of time in public institutions and other institutions and propaganda and media having the people believe that this is proper justice or proper law or due process of law. And it is not. And the sad part is that, the law of the land was established to make sure that no one was molested by these types of things. But, that, again, by going to their public institutions that they've created for themselves, and they took advantage of the fact that we did not know any better, they have groomed and conditioned generations to believe that so that they can maintain and have all the things they want and feed their family. And they are still doing the same thing, but it's all amped up at a higher level. And as an example of that, we get excited about knowing the truth of who we are, but we don't spend enough time studying to know the position that we ought to take. So we run into these people, into these so-called courts, and we actually are foolish because, and that's why they laugh at some people or try to, because they're going to do that anyway, because they're going to try to bend you towards their end. And it's sad because the deal is that if you're looking for your Savior, it's within. If you're looking for your devil, it's within. You have to study to show your own self-approval. And we say this all the time, and no one can give that to you. And we don't take the time to do that. So as a result, we're still on fire, and many people are trying to do workarounds and this and that instead of standing firmly on the law collectively, and the whole thing would be over tomorrow, for real. But I will say this too. We're getting closer. I have never seen so many of our Moors now going into this Indian tribal situation. I mean, I just got to have an email back and forth, but I figured, okay, we're getting closer. We're all being forced to make these changes, and we're getting closer to knowing. There's so many people who would rather be anything and everything except for who they are, that they now are going to the Indian thing. Now, those who have called themselves Indians, supposedly, they don't even want to be called American Indians. Why? Because there's no such thing. Right. It just is not. It just isn't. And then people, just tonight, America, the Indian institutions, but whatever. How else would, we could get the judge or assembly to recognize us? Who cares? Well, Georgia, whatever assembly, it don't matter what state. Who cares? They already have the law laid down for them that they're violating. What do you need them to recognize? You need to recognize who they are. See, we need to reverse this. We need to recognize who these people are and groups and so-called governments. We need to recognize who they are and therefore know who they are not, and then recognize when they're actually violating law. And they have, back to the subject matter here, they have told us what a crime was for so long and what they had made criminals out of the people when they're not criminals. It's not a criminal act at all. And now that's something that's in play, and everybody's just signing themselves away to it. That's all I have to say. I don't know if Anahita has any comments.
Anahita, what you say?
She's probably talking with the...
Sure.
Hold on.
Right.
I don't know what happened to her.
Okay. Well, I say this, all of that they putting the sister through as of right now is color of law. It definitely is color of law. But the misdemeanor, it says a misdemeanor disorderly persons offense. Like that's not on the level of criminal, and for it to be 3 days before Christmas, I'm just looking a little deeper, right? So-called Christmas, we know is the celebration of the sun moving north again or ascending after it hits its lowest peak. That there's a ritual, a universal, event that's happening within those 3 days. The solstice. You got the winter solstice, and then on the third day, the sun rises again and things of that nature. So I'm looking at it like that. It's a message in all of that. But also the fact that they didn't take anything and they were simply just trying to find a place to keep warm.
Intent. Intent is everything.
Intent is everything. Because like I said, it's a maxim that necessity overrides law. Meaning it's the law that, if you murder somebody, you already know the penalties for that. There's penalties to that, because it's contrary to the law of nature to take, another being's life, man or woman, and things of that nature. However, if you're in a position where you have to defend yourself and it's self-defense, well, there's a different set of rules that go with that particular action because your survival is a necessity. So the same laws wouldn't apply to a murder charge because you were in self-defense mode. And I'm just speaking, natural law. I'm not telling anybody to kill anybody. Let's make that clear. But what I'm saying is that based off of different circumstances and situations, there's different ramifications or rules that go with that subsequently. So if somebody was just rowdy Piper, just, out there killing people, that's totally different than somebody protecting their home who, had to defend themselves and their family. So I take that, that might be a little broader, but the same aspects of why things are done, applies specifically in this sister situation as well, because they were looking for a place to keep warm. So I just want to state for the record, definition of right of entry. You can look this up in your Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary, revised 4th edition, on page 1488. It says the right of taking or resuming possession of land by entering on it in a peaceable manner. That's the definition. All right. So out of necessity, her and her family had to exercise that right of entry. And if I'm not mistaken, she was a mother of 2 at that time, or, later or whatnot. But, however, that's not criminal. So to try to make her out to be a criminal under color of law for that is malicious. It's malefic. You know what I mean? And another thing, I don't know, since it's Freestyle Tuesday, we're just going on different topics. You got certain people who are claiming to be Moors, and they are, but they have a subjective mentality, or when I say that, I mean like they think of themselves in terms of being subjects, and they say things like, this isn't about taking any land back or, entering into houses and things of that nature. Well, to me, it's like they're not really dealing with the real, because Chapter 1 of the Circle 7, Noble Drew Ali, goes into the fact that man will regain his lost estate. He will regain all of these things, but it must be done in a conflict. It cannot even be told in words. So we can talk about it, but I think that aspect is more so the courage to do such a thing. You know what I mean? To know about your right of entry, to know that you have the right to do what you have to do if you need to stay out of the cold, specifically on your ancestral estate. And I'm not suggesting that anybody just go recklessly do that. Don't do it because, Ms. Raim was talking about it on the principles of nationality in action class, on Tuesday. I'm not saying do it because of that. I'm just saying, people are dealing with real life situations out here, while people are, suiting up, suit and tie with the fez on top. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is all good and for everybody, that's not really the case. So there's certain sisters that have to stand on law. You know what I mean? Brethrens likewise, but this is a perfect example of a sister who's going to have to stand on law, to remove the stain, because they tried to color her. Color is anything painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. And we know that if you look up crime in your Henry Campbell Black's Law Dictionary, it refers to things of an atrocious dye. So they just colored her in the aspect of, her innocence and integrity. And it wasn't really a crime. So, that's something I wanted to primitively talk about, off top, is that these are the types of situations certain people are dealing with, among many other things. And the only real remedy or haven to find peace is in knowing the law, knowing the de jure law, knowing how to break that spell, you know what I mean, to back that up, like, because it's a sad story, all those achievements she made. And I know Noble Drew Ali said, you know, he was talking about the fool staying in college or staying in school, and the longer he stays in the school, the more they will defend jumping through the hoops. You know what I mean? So that's another aspect that goes with it. But I'm not knocking this sister because I don't think she had any, you know, alternative concepts of, you know, I don't know. I can't say. I can't speak for her. I'm just speaking about the story. But, you know, I don't know if she knew anything better. Like, because, again, this is a sister who's interested in law, you know what I mean, who is aspiring to be a quote-unquote lawyer and things of that nature. So I don't know if her interest in law is without wax, if it's, you know, sincere, you know, but if it really is, man, I hope that she just, you know, finds the de jure law, the right path, the Constitution, and then learn, you know, all the ramifications, you know, you can put under the umbrella of the Ninth Amendment, you know, as far as, you know, what she had to do, why she's not a criminal, and, you know, live in peace with that, because that to me was just malefic, jealousy. You know, they basically took a position that there's no way this Moorish woman is going to come through our ranks and make all of these achievements, you know, and it had to be some sort of European daughter or whatever who really tried to hold that, because, mind you, they say the criminal background checks is only supposed to go back 7 years, although they can go back further. But, you know, we're talking 11 years later, she worked there for 2, and now they're trying to hold that over her head. Right after she got appointed for the Board of Trustees. Now, I know, you know, we can go into how all of that is a corporation. I'm talking about how that had to hit her in the chest. You know what I'm saying? From her endeavors. That's all I'm saying. So, with that being said,
it should be a reality check. It should be a reality check of what's bullshit, because that's what it is. And all of those accomplishments, thinking you're doing the right thing, you found out you're not. I mean, not really, because that's not what really matters to be so.
Right.
It really isn't.
Right on. So, yeah, that was something, you know, I wanted to talk about. I definitely wouldn't mind hearing Anais' perspective on that, if she has anything to say. Salam.
Yeah, she's there. I think she's there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, she thought these people were her friends. That was her mistake.
Word. For sure. Because they was just hating on her.
They're not her friends. So she's in a system that's designed to dumb you down. So what accomplishments did she really have?
Right. Right. Indeed. Indeed.
That was my fault.
Yeah. Well, nah, all is well. But also, you know, just from another perspective, because sometimes we got to look to history, you know, to actually see certain things that repeat itself and motivation and how we get jump-started on different things, you know, what this is about. Because, as it was saying, she had quote-unquote broke into a house, but this was just about her right of entry, you know, and being Moors, having to make claims, having to defend, you know, the ancestral state is nothing new. So, you know, and I'm not speaking from a patriarch perspective. I'm going to quote this out of Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 2, verbatim. All right? So this is not me. This is the book. And on page 17, it's talking about Moors and Saracens and, you know, different people who tried to make claims on the land. So I'll read an excerpt and I'll leave the rest to your studies. It says, apparently then, this patriarchal leader of the Tory section. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up, because I know anciently, you know, our societies were not patriarchs. I know that's a fact. You know, it just means father, but it was usually ran, you know, with the balance or, you know, the exaltation of the matriarch, for sure. Those are facts. But we were talking a while ago about the quote-unquote Book of Negroes, and they asked the sister, are you a Tory? He said, are you a Tory? You remember that, Ma?
Oh, I sure do, man. That was that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You there?
Oh, okay. I sure do, man. That was very powerful in that movie. I mean, wow, that was overwhelming to hear that when they asked was she a Tory.
Yeah.
Tory.
So it says here on page 17, Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 2, it says, apparently then this patriarchal leader of the Tory section of the Galloway Falls was a genuine descendant of the ancient Moors or Picts. Of the conservative remnants of these races, other examples were seen in the Grammys or Grammes, Moors or Gypsies of the debatable land. He said of the debatable land, who proved the purity of their ancestry, if in no other way by the resistance they offered to the would-be claimants, of their territory, in doing which they showed instinctively that they and no other were the Grammys of the debatable quote-unquote district. So, you know, to me it just took a part of history. I mean, it flashed back to a part of history, or world history, where Moors have had to make the distinguishment of who are the lineal descendants to the land on multiple occasions. This is not nothing new. So I say that to say that, you know, those who are saying, you know, this isn't about Moors don't have anything to do with making land claims. I'm not blaming, you know, all Moors on that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, don't let them tell you that that's true Moorish history, that, you know, Moors have nothing to do with land claims, because we were the original people to the land. And, you know, we I don't know if you want to talk about this or just let the video speak for itself when it's ready to come out. But we went to Ellis Island last week, and you know, they were talking about annexation of lands. You know, people basically just woke up and now all of a sudden it's New York. All of a sudden it's New Jersey. You know what I mean? And they did this under the, you know, conquest intent. And their whole intention was to convert people to Christianity. They do not hide this history. This is facts. So, you know, I just wanted to add that on, and for now I yield the floor. Islam.
Well, if I must say, I know that we're doing the training video, that you're actually going to be doing that. But yes, indeed, I would like to just mention, because we went to Ellis Island, and now let's think about it. We weren't going here to see if our family Appalachians were on the roster, if you will. Although, as we know, most of the names there are ours anyway. And we didn't even get to that. That's going to be next trip, because after doing what we did do and going to the Statue of Liberty, etc., once we got there, on the ground floor, it was so funny because Anna Ede and I both, you hadn't come into the building yet, but our eyes were totally and instantaneously affixed to the sign that says peopling, the peopling of the world. I don't know if it said of the world. And we're both like, peopling? What is this? I have you all to know, want you all to know, please know this. The things that they discuss are about them and themselves and them peopling on someone else's land. Trust and believe. I beg of you to understand. They didn't set up the history lessons that they have to teach about you or any of your accomplishments, which is why our people are always whining and pining and complaining and spitting and all marching and protesting and all that craziness about why aren't they teaching about us? It's not their obligation to teach about you. Mm-hmm. One nation, indivisible for a reason. They're teaching and documenting about them. And you ought to be teaching about you. But like I said, we're so busy whining and crying and pining and stuff like that. It's just absolutely from an objective perspective, horrifying. And it changed, huh?
No, I didn't want to cut your wisdom. Go ahead.
It changed. I won't say changed. It just took things to another gear, another level, another setting, just to go to Ellis Island, because they do not hide the truth. I haven't told you the horrifying truth yet. I'm just telling you, they don't hide it. And they know that we're not going there. And really, we would have no reason to. That history is not necessarily and particularly and personally ours. That's them coming here. Okay? So, and we found it to be true because some of the people who work in the surrounding shops and stores, which, by the way, you talk about high prices, man, they take total advantage. But, yeah, oh my God, and that was absolutely commercialized stuff. But
bring your own lunch.
Yeah, right. Bring your own lunch. Trust me. Bring your own lunch. Whatever it is you eat. I don't care what it is you eat. Bring it. I mean, vegetarian or otherwise. Bring it with you. So. Oh,
you know what? They be trying to block people from bringing their own stuff on the boat.
Oh, that's right. They won't let you. See, that's right. No food allowed once you leave off the ferry to go over. No food allowed, because once you get over there to the Statue, Liberty Island, and then Ellis Island, they want you to buy what they have. So you can't bring your own lunch, unless, sis, once you get over there, they don't care about you going from one island to the next on the ferry, because they know that whatever you have typically is going to be from one of their stores. But you can't leave off of the Manhattan Island with food once you get to the Statue, Liberty Island and or Ellis Island, which usually is the next stop. Then whatever food you have, you're supplying them. But anyway, point is that there's people who work there who are Moors, unconscious as they may be. Oh, this isn't where you should be. You should be at the African American graveyards or something to that effect. Now, I know what they're saying. They work there and don't see the wealth and power of information that's there. Why? Because they don't see themselves for who they're not being who they are. That is why. And they have the same general mindset that is constant right now, that these other people, these modern Europeans, who are running institutions, associations, meeting rooms, calling them court, and all this kind of stuff, saying they're law when they're not. They think that they are, in fact, the authority in law, but Didn't you just read right there where they just came over here? All right. Here's the powerhouse of the 5. You know how we talk about the 5 principles, right? Well, let me tell you, on the bottom floor, when we went over to that area about the peopling, again, we found out that they ain't even talking about you people. They talk about them peopling somebody else's, the new world or the newfound world. It isn't new at all. Why is it called new? It's not new to you or I. It's not new to anybody who knows anything about anything. That is, the land's always been here. And the people, the Aboriginal people on it, are heavily melanated. So what's so new? Let's think about this. It's new to them. And I'm telling you, that's who they're talking about themselves. And the fact that we don't stand in our own is why theirs can grow so large. What were you going to say?
I was going to say this. In the aspect, they're talking about themselves, but in another aspect, they have no history that does not involve Moors.
Oh, of course. Of course not. Of course not.
So some of our story is in there. Example.
Oh, well, yes. Yes.
When
it absolutely is. I know that. Yeah.
Because when they was talking about how they came over and wiped out a lot of us by, just by breathing, by being around, because they had a lot of diseases, or death genes, transmittable death genes or viruses, that alone wiped out a lot of people. And again, this is why Noble Drew Ali was saying, as a pure and clean nation, we do not wish to amalgamate with the pale-skinned nations of Europe because they had heavy diseases, you know what I mean, that we didn't have. We didn't even have immunity built up for that type of stuff. That's how filthy it was when they came through. And I'm just going to drop this last thing, and you could go in, or we could talk about it, or just let the video speak for itself. But the railroads, they built the railroads with the help of Asiatics that they were calling Chinese. But what I found interesting about that is that when it was time to take the picture for, all of the participants in that particular endeavor, all the architects of the railroad, they excluded the so-called Chinese from the picture. So all you see is a picture of Europeans, but it was actually Asiatics who was putting in the work too. It's just they were excluded from the picture. So.
But what's so powerful about that? What's so powerful about that is they actually tell you, I read it. They say, although the Chinese worked on this, they were excluded from the photo. What does that mean to you? It means when they put it in their history, they're not putting the Chinese in it. But that, as an example. But that doesn't mean they weren't here, just like the Hindustans, which are the Indians that they're talking about when they talk. People think it's American Indian. There is no such thing as an American Indian for all you people who are going down the tribal nation's way. There is no such thing as that. So it's the new wave after the UCC, after the birth certificate redemption, after the commercial shit. Now we're getting closer to home, which is a good thing, but there is no such thing. So stop saying, this will be on. It's not. It's getting closer. But anyway, so for them to admit, let me tell you, with Ellis Island and all that, when they talk about the people, and they are admitting it, they're not hiding it. Let me give you the 5 pillars. When we read that on the lower floor, we all said the same thing. We don't really need to see anything else. Because it affirmed everything that we've been teaching or sharing. And it was so mind-blowing to us. I'm going to use the word mind-blowing loosely. It was so unveiling of being able to ferret out the truth, strangely mixed with falsehood. Well, guess what? They didn't even mix the shit. They just came right out, straight, no chaser. And if you were to go there and read that, you would see it. But if you go there without knowing who you are, you might not see it because you don't know who you are. But believe me, it should be obvious because it's just too damn obvious. It's not even an interpretation that we're talking about. Now, Ms., I just want to give the 5 pillars, but what I wanted to know, I don't know if you have your camera up because I didn't get a chance to translate the words because it's a very short paragraph explaining each one of those 5 things. And I hope that you have that so that when I say it, you can just read what it is. It's like really not even a paragraph. It's like a couple of sentences.
You know what? I don't have it up right now. I don't have that up right now. But
no,
I
mean,
guess,
do you have your camera where you can open it?
Let me try to pull it up real quick.
Yeah, well,
pull it up. But
I tell you,
the Brethren Cujo just texted me. He said Asiatic told him that excluded them from the picture because of how dark they were. And I'm like, that's exactly what we was thinking. You know what I mean? What other reason? That would have been like you said, like a mind-blowing truth, you know. But I'm gonna try to pull it. But you know what? I think I would love to, but they're just gonna have to watch the video for that.
Well, no,
I would have to go through and find the minute marker that was and all of that.
That's right, because you don't have it on picture. You have it on. Okay, all right, no problem. But the only reason is that those 5 bullets right there. Which you know, we got our 5 pillars, right? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And let me tell you something. Their 5 is totally the opposite. Yeah. Trust and believe, and they're not hiding it. Now, I found it interesting because it jived up with everything that is being told to you more about history. You cannot know law if you don't know history. You can't. It's not possible. So, let me see. I might have it with me right here. I might have it on a camera shot, but the first thing, yeah, I got it. I don't know if I could read it well. All right. 5 things. Y'all listen up now. The first thing is called conquest. Now, look up conquest if you don't know what it means. But I know you do. Oh, man. And it says, I'm missing it, the myth that North America lay land, land for the taking. Europeans encountered over 200 different cultures. Did you hear what I said? Gosh, I can't get that first part. Oh, man, I missed it. I cut it off. The North America lay, damn it. All right, anyway, I'm just going to read what I can. 200 different cultures and ancestors had lived on this continent for thousands of years. And through armed conflict, Europeans seized them. Now, hold on. The land and claimed it for settlement. Listen to me. They claimed it for settlement. That was their reason. All right? So now you got to understand, and I don't have all of this, entailed enslaving, subjugating, or removing native people to reservations against their will. Disease was an unintended instrument, okay? Millions of Native Americans died from viruses to which they had no resistance. Now, please hear me out, okay? Please hear this out. That's Pillar 1, conquest, all right? What is Pillar 2 for them? Colonization. Now, hold on. Before we get to Pillar 2, Pillar 1 is conquest. Please read the conquest intent or the Intacatera Divina, which means divine intent for them, what they call their divine intent. Because remember, that's the Christian Crusades, and that's the Pope who Alexander VI, who wrote that bull of Papa, the Papa Bull. Bull meaning a written document. That's why you have papers called bulletins today. So conquest is number one. Read the conquest intent, because I just really read it to you just now. But in depth, it says that, look, if you people that they were seizing do not believe, oh, here it is right here. Okay. Do not believe in what we believe in terms of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is really our Moabite, Canaanite brethren, who we already knew. All right? So if you don't believe in him, we can kill you because our God said so. Now, that's the pillar. That's the foundation there of their conquest intent as far as Christianity is concerned. That's documented. Again, I repeat, they're not hiding this. But they didn't expect you to go to Ellis Island, and if you did, you wouldn't. If you don't know who the heavens you are, you're still going to miss it because you're asleep. You're absolutely asleep, and you don't feel that you have any place amongst the affairs of man. That's the problem. You think you got peeled off the wall somewhere or in Africa. Well, let me tell you, on pillar number 4, that's where the African enslavement comes in at. There's a place for you. For those
hold on, before you go into that,
yeah,
let's keep it clear too. At pillar 1 or 2, it was speaking about the fact that they did this to Native Americans.
Yeah.
So they used a different jurisdiction. They did not say Indians.
No.
They said Native Americans, and one thing that they emphasized is that they had to bring them up under Christianity. That's
coming next. That's pillar 2. Pillar 1 was conquest. Boom, that's it, right? All right. They found out that we was dying just from them being there. We're like, hell, that's called today chemical warfare. Like everybody talking about the chemical warfare, right?
Biological warfare.
Huh?
Biological warfare.
Biological warfare.
They had to have something worse than AIDS. You know what I mean? At that time.
Where does that thought come from? It came from them, period, when they came here with diseases, and they looked around and saw that we was dropping like flies. Okay? So now, pillar 1 is conquest. Pillar 2, I just lost my place because I'm reading off my phone. Give me 2 seconds. Pillar 2 is colonization. Check this out. Now, and so when we look at pillar 1 and it says conquest, I urge you to read the conquest intent, which is the Indica Terra Divina. All right. Pillar 2 is colonization. Check it out. European nations colonized the Americas to exploit natural resources, engage in commerce, create new communities, and convert native peoples to Christianity. This is all their intent. So when we tell you people stop searching for your place amongst the affairs of man and commerce, because that's what they got. Once we did the treaty, after we realized that the craziness that was going on and the peace that was necessary, we did that peace document. That's why it's called the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. All right, so once that was happening, their intent didn't change. They wanted to do commerce. It's right here. They colonized the Americas to exploit the natural resources, to engage in commerce, to create new communities, and convert native peoples to Christianity. Did they say Indians? No. Did they say Chinese who were already here? No. Or because the Indians were the Hindustans already here, because we're all brethren. That's why we include those.
It was really Moors.
We're all Moors, the first navigators. That's who we are.
Yeah, because if they meant Indian, I think they would have said Indian. They said Native Americans.
That's exactly what they said.
Al-Moroccans.
That's why I was talking to Annie the other day. I said, we're not giving up Native American just because people tie it to Indian or a so-called American Indian. We're not giving up that title.
And the painting illustration showed you that these were dark-skinned people, because they had a illustration painting by the pillars. And They were all dark-skinned people like us, what people would consider African. In your face. Now, mind you, just for the record, everything you read, everything you was just now saying, that's openly documented at so-called Ellis Island. You're not just saying that. That's documented by them at Ellis Island. Now just to keep it
let me
clear.
finish it. Spain, which is not the proper name for that was of the land when it was Andalusia. Spain, France, Holland, England, and other European powers claim different parts of what would, I know you're going to love this one, man, what would become the United States. Hello, my people. You're not members of the United States. It isn't even formed yet. Here's your proof. It just told you who was to become members of the United States. It just said so. The Europeans, not you. You're the natives. You can't be that. You can't. Have we been telling people that? That is why when the Treaty of Peace, a friendship came along to be here instead of and bringing them into the constitutional fold, these diseases people at the time, and these conquering people at the time, and these colonists living off of another nation's land, all right? And that's why the definition of the United States, if you read it in Black's Law, will tell you. So what would become the United States? You are not going to be able to, listen, if you fell down right where you're standing, you're not going to get up in the next room. You're going to get up from where you fell. So you can't say, oh, we're up and we're United States of America citizens. You can't do that. You just quit your own actual position and amongst the affairs of man. You just did it. So what would become the United States? They battled. See, but here's the thing: if we don't believe that we were here already, this is what the problem is. But then, like you said, you go to the definition of Americans and tell you the Aboriginal, various copper tone people who were found here by the Europeans. Bingo. So now they battled one another. We're still in colonization. They battled one another as well as Native Americans to gain dominance and control trade and territory. So what did they just say? They just said that Spain, the Europeans, Spain, France, Holland, England, and other European powers battled one another and the Native Americans to gain dominance and control trade and territory because they were doing what? Conquering, their conquest intent. All right, now, pillar number three, because there's only 5. Guess what they did next? Now, it all makes a lot of daggone sense. First, you have an idea to conquest. Then you come over and you colonize. Colonize is one who sucks off of someone else. That's what they did. That's what colonist is by definition. That's why you hear people say they're vampires, or what's the other word? Vampires or leeches, all right? Because that's what they do. Yeah, the vampires basically suck blood. So it's a parable to it, but that's why they say it. Because guess what? These modern Europeans are telling you that's what they do. So the third, after you have conquest, you have colonization, then you say, come on over, Auntie M and Uncle Ned. The third is migration. Beginning tens of thousands of years ago, people migrated to North America and the land that now makes up the United States. In the 16th century, new groups made the journey, coming from.
Hold on. Before you go on, I don't want to cut your wisdom, but you emphasized that a couple of times. I just want to interject a few lessons, a few facts, because you got specific Moors who are claiming, we're the Moor Science Temple number whatever, and we're citizens of the U.S. of A. Like, when we say we're not United States citizens, nor citizens of the United States of America, it's not because we have some disdain. It's not because, we're trying to be rebels. It's because of the actual natural facts of history. These are historical facts, and it goes back to the fact that Noble Drew Ali said, go back to the ancient state of mind of your foremothers and forefathers. So ask yourself, what later became the United States, was that the ancient mind state of your foremothers and forefathers? Were they calling this land the United States?
No.
I dare you to answer that question and say, yeah, because you know it's not true. You know we're not United States citizens. That's an artificial jurisdiction that included the Pilgrims, you know, by way of conquest intent. So you can't even get that. You know what I'm saying? It's a fact. They're not hiding that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they say they hide history in strange places. Well, you can't. It's Ellis Island, Liberty Island. You can't just happenstancely, you know, navigate past that in your land conveyance. You have to have the intention to want to go there, because these are islands on their own merit. So they know that, you know, you can't be walking down the street and just say, let me go check this out. You have to want to go there. So, you know what I'm saying? As far as our citizenship, as far as our identity, nationality, we are not, and I stand by this because this is the facts that history tells. We are not United States citizens. It is a big difference between United States and America. These are not the same jurisdiction. If they was, they wouldn't be two different words. They're not the same. They're not even derivatives. Like, it's not even a derivative. Like, you know how we can say that, you know, America is a derivative of Morocco or vice versa. Yeah, you can see that. You know what I mean? You can't see a derivative from America and United States. They're not, that there wasn't morphed out of that word. That was a corporation who did a corporate takeover. So I just wanted to emphasize that fact. When we say we're not United States citizens, it's not that we don't, you know, it's not that we have disdain or hatred. It is just the fact. And if it wasn't, you wouldn't see the distinguishment between citizens of the United States and Moors in the language used in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787. So I just want to make that fact very clear, that, you know, there's a clear distinguishment between the two jurisdictions. So if I say I'm an American citizen, it has no equivalence with claiming to be a United States citizen. It is
or
not
United States of America.
Or United States of America. It is not the same. There is no equivalence in that. Pardon me, I didn't want to cut your wisdom, but I did.
No.
I did
It's all good, because my thought there was what they'll do to you, though, because they know they listen. This is why the prophet said you got to have your own schools. They know that they did not teach you this in these schools, you know, and if they'll play with your mind on the mind game and say, oh, so you're not a United States citizen, you know. Maybe we need to import, what is that word they use? Deport. Deport me to where? You need to know to say, no, I am an American. Because the truth is that they are not the Aboriginal Indigenous Americans. That's a fact everywhere. We didn't even have to go to Ellis Island to find that out. That's already been said. But because we don't know the difference between dominion and domination, we don't know which one we should be standing on. It says these are the Moorish dominion. Dominions mean it's spiritual ownership, because you can't own the land in their way. It ain't going nowhere. It's an inheritance, and it's an ancestral estate. That's why the prophet said you will gain back your heritage and your lost estate.
Yes.
In a conflict that cannot be told in words. Because what we're sharing with you right now, you really need to see this for yourself. But we're going to show it to you. We're going to show it to you because we have to. That's why we're going to put together the video on it. But at any rate, so here we go. They made the journey coming from Europe, Africa, and Asia. Today, people continue to arrive in large numbers from every part of the globe. So now what they just also admitted is that before and during the 16th century, clearly people were also navigating from all over the place because they, without being enslaved, without needing a passport and all that kind of stuff. All right, that's why I tell people, look, we came over here when we felt like it on the ship, man. That's what we did. You need to watch the long ship with Sidney Poitier, by the way. So it says, regardless of when they journeyed, they left their homelands as immigrants in search of new immigrants over the E, in search of new opportunities and freedom. They arrived as immigrants who worked, struggled, and adapted to a new world. They are the immigrants, the foreigners. That's why you are not a foreigner. You can't even pretend that you're a foreigner. You can't even do a workaround and say, well, I'm a foreigner because I'm foreign to what you guys are doing. You don't give them that power. The only power they actually have is what we keep giving them. So these things are telling you the truth about this. But also in the congressional records, and we have it in the book called Biography of the Moors, there is a picture that I put in there from the records, congressional records, that shows that the immigrants, when they influxed here from Ellis Island, who are the lineal descendants of the original ones who came as colonists, they came as slaves. And then they started coming from all over, and they came as slaves and colonies were created, but their intent was to conquer as well. So these are their lineal descendants coming over here to be free, generally through Ellis Island as free people, okay? Now, because their grandparents were not free at when the British were bringing them over, all right? So that's why they're saying, there was travel back and forth all the time. And trust me, they didn't have the passport. They had an ensign, which is ENSIGN, which is more like a military or maritime. It's a flag. That's what they had. That showed their nation. All right? And the modern Europeans that create the United States of America today didn't have one. That's why Betsy made the Star-Spangled Banner as their ensign under the authority of the Moorish dominions and the Moorish nation and the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So how did you know it was their ship? They had to fly the banner. That's how you knew. It's the Star-Spangled Banner. You need to ask yourself how it became a flag, because it's not the flag of this land. It's not the flag of well, let's put it this way. You have a flag. Let's say they want to say they have a flag. Well, we need to be flying ours. They're flying theirs. But at the same time, the Star-Spangled Banner is under the authority of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship first and on down to the Constitution, okay? Because that's why it says, and to the republic for which it stands, all right? And when they were given the right to sail freely. All right, so here's the fourth pillar. We have, let's go back over it real quick. We have conquest, intent, that's the intent. We have colonization, that means to suck off of someone else's stuff. That's what colonies do, including the blood. We have immigration, bring over everybody else. We done paved the way now. And then we have enslavement. Now, this is where the African slave trade comes in at, right here on the fourth pillar. The first pillar, when they came here, and there was thousands of people that were the natives, all right, that's those who were already here, and they were of copper tone, all right? But now they have enslavement. European colonial powers enslaved more than 10 million West Africans and transported them to the Americas and the Caribbean. 500,000 enslaved people were brought to the United States, forcibly moved. Hold on, let me get to the next part, to the next done. Forcibly moved across continents to fill a ravenous, you want to know why? To fill a ravenous hunger for labor. These men and women created the agricultural might of the nation, of their nation, the United States. Their enslavement played a role in both building the nation and in tearing it apart. Oh, yes. So that's the fourth pillar. There you go, for all those who say they are African slaves. But for all those who know that they're already here, if you can sit back and talk with your grandmama, and they can tell you about their grandmama, and they're talking about things they did on the land right here in the North American continent, you pretty much know that you didn't come during the enslavement of those who were on that part of the African, what they call the African continent today, that you and your family was already here. So now the last one, and this is really interesting. It's called annexation. Now, I just put an article up on the page and gave definition of annexation, and he had found it for me and sent it to me. And I typed it in, and I just put it up. Let me see if I can find. Okay, now, hold on. Last one, and then we can talk about this. And the reason that I am hesitant for 1 second is I want to get the definition of annexation. And really, when I read what they put as annexation, you ought to get it, because what they put as annexation is the claiming of new territories by a government through war, treaty, or purchase. The United States expanded its territory by annexing areas that had once belonged to the other nations, especially Native Americans, France, Spain, Russia, Mexico. That's another thing that I just put up yesterday is the truth. The original request for the treaty that these modern Europeans sent to the Mexicans. Yeah, I finally got it up. It's in handwritten in English, and on the other side in Latin. And the reason it's in Latin is because Latin is the written language of law. So they had to know both in order to deal with us. But
well, you know what? Before you continue, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but I just want to say, when you said that, I had a flashback from when we was there, and I'm thankful that we were all there, those of us who were there, because when you started going in on that, and he dropped some truth bombs on us, I was like, wow, I wasn't privy to that particular reference she gave. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that for either her to speak on or for the video to speak on for herself. Because she pulled it right out. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? This was really good.
I put it on the site, just that portion, because that went along with when I found the original handwritten request for a treaty of peace, which ultimately the Sultan, who represented was the title, who represented the people of the Moorish nation, unincorporated, that is, and I'll explain that later. But it had to be done by the head of the nation, by those who had that title, not by the Mexicans themselves, because they themselves are of Moorish dominion. So they couldn't approve a treaty. That's why we tell people, they talk about these treaties between Indians and the United States of America. Well, after what we're sharing right now, they ought to know that it's invalid, because Indians can't make a treaty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. So here it is. So the annexation included Mexico and Hawaii. Now here is where you'll get it. This is what they say. While the people who inhabited these annexed territories, that means the ones who were already there before the modern Europeans came, while they were inhabited these annexed territories, did not physically migrate. They still found themselves living in a new country. and encountering new people and new challenges. Excuse you. That means you went to bed last night thinking that you were in Northwest Maxim or whatever it was called.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I want to cut your wisdom, but I think you should read that line again, maybe even twice. Maybe even twice to let that sink in. Let that sink in. Emphasize that.
Well, and before I emphasize that, just the word claim. They're talking about they made claims. Moors, you need to make your claim. That's what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you want that to sink in. While the people who inhabited the next territories did not physically migrate, they still found themselves living in a new country and encountering new people and new challenges.
One more time, Noah. One more time.
While the people who inhabited these annexed territories did not physically migrate, they still found themselves living in a new country and encountering new people and new challenges. How is that possible? Other than a claim, all right, so it means that you went to bed last night thinking you were in one place. When you woke up, you was walking down the streets doing whatever you're doing, and somebody said, oh, yeah, this is the United States. And you started believing that shit. Okay? I mean, really, that's why the Aboriginal indigenous people, because they say Mexico, they say Hawaii, have the authority to say, hell no, I'm not a part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's a veil over top of it. Once they wake up, same with you, Morris. Same with you. And they're saying, Mexico. Like, I love the children that I got a thing up there saying, look, if you think that I'm in I have it on the site. It says then you need to do. Oh, it says there was a protest when they were talking about Mexican immigration and all that crap. And it says, if you think that I'm illegal, this is what the so-called modern Mexicans put the sign up. And I have it on the site, front page, homepage. If you think I'm illegal because I'm a Mexican, learn the true history because I am in my homeland. They were like, the hell with that. We're going to make our claim. And our claim is ancestral, which is why the prophets say go back to the mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. This is why. So that you can know this. And in order to do that, you got to know the history, which means, unfortunately for some, you got to study. That dirty word, because what we're sharing with you is our study. And we're giving it to you, and you're still trying to hide from it. You're still trying to be anything and everything except for being the honor of your own mothers and fathers. So with that, Mexico was like, oh, no, I don't think so. And Hawaii, same thing. And Alaska, that's where they get Alaska from. All right? The Europeans are loving Alaska because they like cold weather anyway. And we kind of was there, and they gave us this coin calling you Eskimos because it really is a bastardization of Moors, escaped Moors. And they weren't really escaped Moors, but they were escaping. Everybody everywhere was escaping from this enslavement. So I say that to say that then once they had their conquest, they did the colonization. Oh, and when you get to colonization, there is a actual United Nations record that says colonization is to be ended. That people, and we gave you the example that in South Africa, for an example, they took back and claimed their land and the houses, all the fixtures on it. That includes the house. So the Europeans, the lineal descendants of these modern Europeans who were over there, who were colonists, they went to work this morning, and when they came back, the people were saying, no, you got to go. And this is true story. You can check it out. They went to the United Nations to cry genocide. These are descendants of modern Europeans who were colonists over in the South Africa portion of the territory. And they went to the United Nations, and the United Nations said to them, sorry, you can't cry genocide. Why? Because you're not the Aboriginal people. I'm telling our people, wake up. So genocide is committed here all day long. But claiming is the necessity, which is why the prophet said, if you don't do anything else, declare your nationality, which is tied to, your nation. And when you do declare your nationality determines your political allegiance, and your political allegiance cannot be to the United States, because I just told you who they are. They showed us when we went there who they are. It's documented. They didn't hide it.
It's not some radical stuff we making up. These are facts of history. You know what I mean? And present day effects. So, it can't be circumscribed to all. These are people who are just trying to separate. And why don't y'all just expatriate? Like, we don't have nothing to do with no patriotic movement or expatriotic movement.
Excuse me, I don't want to cut you. But when you said expatriate, I want to tell all those people out there that are doing birth certificate redemption on the fraud slick side. That's exactly what you're doing. You're claiming it to another place, and you don't need to have a claim of being a more American national and then do that, because you just negated all of it. And they are so glad to let you do that. So glad. I know people who travel distances to go to classes in New York on birth certificate redemption. I couldn't believe they actually believed that this was fine. But all of the people that did that, most all of the ones that I know, those were the people who never studied jack. They never studied. And they wouldn't listen when you gave them the true facts. Because man don't know about being told. That's really why. And that's why you have to do the study to show yourself approved. So
right. So like, let's look at this, right? Because I think one of the biggest problems that's blocking us from total liberation, from total freedom, from total independence, is that certain people are, and I get it. I do get it in the aspect, but not for the overall cause, is that certain people are trying to do things whereas they can still amalgamate with, the European acceptance, or still be accepted by the European in what they do. Now, I know there's been many disclaimers that, quote-unquote, Masonry and Moorish nationality are not one and the same. However, if you know about your nationality, if you know the history of Moors, they were the original Masons in the operative sense, as far as building, mathematics, laying foundations, laying brick with mortar, not brick without mortar, so somebody can knock your house down type of thing, building. But knowing that the ancient concept of Masonry, which was operative in its nature, versus the modern day, because you got Freemasons and then you got free and accepted Masons, right? Now, that's what they consider FAM, F-A-M, free accepted Masons. And then you got FM, Freemason, two different frequencies, like your radio channels and things like that. So my thing is not to use that as a primitive example, but the fact that if you're free, you're free. Like, who do you necessarily have to be accepted by? And I think that this is the distinguishment between the ancient craft and the modern craft. And then, present day, people are still trying to do things to be accepted, by the Europeans. And this is why there's all types of crazy, I'm going to get this birth certificate and get the so-called money off of it. Let's do this birth certificate redemption process. I don't know anybody that's worked for, but what I'm saying is, do you think it's a difference? Like, because let's just say, okay, you got free and accepted Masonry, right? And then you got Freemasonry. But let's change the M instead of Mason to Moors, right? So you got free Moors, then you got free and accepted Moors. Let's just say that for an example, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so free Moors, free and accepted Moors. Do you think that, you know, the Moors who is trying to be accepted might be, you know, diverting just the blatant path of being free Moors, or that wantonness of acceptance is holding us back? Like, is that a cramp on independence by wanting to be accepted? How do you feel about that?
Oh my gosh, you hit it on the head. There's people who still think that they have to be accepted by these entities that are modern Europeans, one nation, indivisible, that are modern Europeans and their structures, which lack due process of law, lack justice, continue on the line of conquest, colonization, immigration, enslavement, and annexation. They want to somehow be accepted by them. Do we understand why? Yeah, I mean, it's a great analogy right there. Yes, we understand why. Because you've been indoctrinated and conditioned to believe that they are, in fact, something and someone that they are not. We just laid down the foundation of who they are. The foundation, which nothing falls far from the tree, means whatever your intent is, your results are going to come from your intent. Period. That is just a natural order, I think. So they want to be accepted by the government. You know, they'll always say, this is my government name. And I email them back and say, no, it's not. That ain't your government. That's not a government. That's a non-de-gear. Well, it's a straw. No. You can look up straw, and you can see that straw means fictitious. But you, as an Aboriginal and Indigenous, lineal descendant of the mothers and fathers of civilization and civilization principles, the natives that they talked about conquering, killing the disease, taking over your mama and papa's stuff and the earth's resources, your inheritance, your heritage. All right? They are not that. They could never be that. Okay? You do not need to be accepted by them just because this is what they have conditioned you to believe. This is why I've come to take you out of your mental enslavement. That's mental enslavement. That's it. So to be accepted is all that people are looking for instead of accepting themselves for who they are, which means you got to know who you are, which is why the prophet also said, I have come to teach you to be yourself. And you know you got two selves. So the first thing you got to conquer yourself is your two selves, your higher and lower self, so that you can understand when you are going into things, whether you are coming into it from a lower self perspective, because we know the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We know their 5 principles of conquest, colonization, immigration, enslavement, and annexation. They didn't hide it. It's right there. And so one is the opposite of the other. So the problem with the world today, if you really want to know, is that we're operating from a lower self, from our lower self that many want to call the devil. Can it up, put it in the church, the devil made you do it. When your reverend, preacher, whatever, tells you the devil made you do it and all this and all that, the irony of it all is that if there's a devil, if you're looking for the devil, it's within. It's within. It's you operating on the lower self instead of the higher self. Simple as that. Simple. Because all the virtues that they want you to have even in your church that you may go to, your brother, your preacher, whatever, is to be good, the goodness, to have good human qualities, as if that's supposed to be some horribly difficult thing to do. No, call it what it is, because you are conditioned and come into the world, for the most part, operating on a lower self, on your lower self, period, which is a reflection of the higher self. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's it, and that's all. And all it is, craziness, is lower self-activity. When you have someone who tricks you, frauds you, deceits you, going to call you fraud, and they are acting in fraud all day long. You know what I mean? When they give you stuff on the TV, I was just talking tonight. We went to dinner, and I was talking tonight with a friend, and they were telling me, and I just got to share this. Well, anything for the most part that's on television that keeps coming on to do, like mortgages, reverse mortgages. Listen, that reverse mortgage stuff, that's some bull. That's some bull. It really is. Most people who do the reverse mortgage, number one, when you do it, you're saying you're cutting off the ability to have an inheritance to your family because they own it, but you can stay in it for as long as you live. That's the contract you agreed to. But then in there somewhere it says, well, if you want to buy it out, you can buy it out at any time. Well, you go ahead and try to buy it out. And that's when you find out that they're fraud. And I'm warning you that pretty soon that's going to be all over the television, just like the mortgage myth, that the reverse mortgage crap that people bought into is a fraud. And that if you go to try to buy that or buy yourself out of the contract because they say you can, you're not going to find these people. They're already under the Better Business Bureau something, or I forgot what it's called, consumer something, all right? They're already, and so in a minute, when enough people get to complying about that, then that's when you'll hear about it. And when I like the fact that I'm saying with enough people, because if it's not enough, they too bad, you just lucked out. All right? And that's the same thing that it is with us Moors declaring and, well, first honoring our mothers and fathers by name and by principle. And also by claiming our own, taking our place amongst the affairs of man and claiming our heritage and our lost estate, etc. When enough of us do it, it's over. But if you don't have these facts of history, you're not going to be able to get out of the tangled weave that has been, a web that has been weaved. You're not going to be able to do it. If you think that it's in commerce just because that's what they're doing, I just showed you. That was their reason for coming, to do commerce. Mm-hmm. That was the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And if you read the letter from George Washington to the Sultan, see, the letter from George Washington was to the Sultan of Morocco. Did you hear that? That's a fact. And then they act like they don't know who Moor is. So please, and it's just craziness. Yeah, but they don't know who Moors are. They're not accepting Moors, and what?
Right. You know what I mean? And then on the other hand, you got, unconscious Moors talking about, well, Moor means black people. Well, black is an English word. You know what I mean? So, just like the English pilgrims and the Spaniards came over with Negro and black, those words don't really apply to us. So, like, automatically you say that you're up under their personam jurisdiction. It has ramifications in law, and a lot of people, it's sad, a lot of people don't realize it till it's too late. Like big acknowledgement to the brethren Natural Tahuti L. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, sometimes it takes stone cold realities to get you in that right state of mind of where you need to be as far as who you are. You know what I mean? Because it's often, it's a good thing when Moors get in their proper person without having to be in the cell. Then at the same time, you know, when you in that cell, and I trust that's nobody here, but if anybody is in the cell and they realizing, yo, this is about personam jurisdiction, you know what I mean? The first thing you have to realize is that black does not apply to you. What is its lawful legal ramifications? Because you could talk all that you want and talk about, you know, Europeans and Moors and Europeans. Moors had a friendship with Europeans and all of this. But there's status that goes along with that. You know what I mean? And if you're going to allow them to identify you, that puts you under their personam jurisdiction. So go ahead. If you're claiming to be black, don't be mad when the European puts the black boot all the way up. You know what I mean? I don't even got to say what else. You know what I mean? But you already know. So I'm just saying that, you know, law, the whole experience was a revelation that law and history, in fact, indeed, and in the law of evidence go together. And it's facts. You know what I mean? So I took that from the experience as well. And I'll be thankful to share that. We'll be thankful to share that particular experience, you know, on the visual. But for sure, you know, there's a lot of ramifications that go with, you know, the construct of what we're calling a country today, you know, or what certain people think is a country today. Because like you said, you know, they woke up and it was a new country. How?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? How? Oh, all of a sudden this is New Jersey now, really? Or this is, you know, PA or New York? I never heard of that. You know what I'm saying?
They're admitting it, though. They're admitting that that's what it is. That's why jurisdiction is so important that, you know, it's so important that we can never, ever say that we live in any of those places because we don't. We actually live in our body. But what I was saying earlier, once you claim your nationality, it will on its own, determine your political allegiance. If Italian is Italian, his allegiance is to the Italian nation. Period. Regardless to the condition that it may be in. You know, I'm just saying, right? Now, when you claim your political allegiance, I mean, your nationality, it determines your political allegiance. And when you say where you domicile, that's what determines your civil liberties. Because if you say you domicile in a fiction such as one of these states, right, they don't have any civil liberties to give you. First of all, you already have them, but you're admitting that you are a member / citizen, same thing, of a, in these days, since 1870, absolutely, they have admittedly are corporations. They were corporations really from the founding, to be honest. So you can't say you're a member / citizen in one of those states because you are saying that you are a corporation yourself. So now your civil liberties are absolutely clipped immediately, because corporations have no parity with the real flesh and blood being. Now, you know, and even I was talking the other day, she said, you know, we talk about case laws. Case laws are only, we show you those to show you the support. But the real deal is this is very simple. And what we just laid down, that we just saw in Ellis Island, not that we had to go to Ellis Island to see it, but the fact that they're not hiding it, ought be enough to give you the foundation to stand, because with or without paper, with or without a nationality card or any paperwork, you are who you say you are. You know? Those are just lawful notices. Anything in written form is nothing but a legal, it's a brief. And including the identification card. that happens to be, and that happens to be a lawful claim, which is what bothers me, because if you have the identification card and it's a lawful claim, and then you turn around and do some stupid-ass birth certificate redemption crap, you just negated it. You just negated your lawful claim.
Mhm. Well, just for the record, we got like 2 minutes left before the live feed ends.
Oh, okay. We should probably.
Yeah. Anybody?
We will be at class tomorrow. We will be live at New York. At New York tomorrow.
So called. It's not even that.
I said
it's
that.
not even that.
Yeah,
you
right.
know what I mean? Can't even give them that in these days. So, Manhattan's Island, that's an Aboriginal appellation. You know what I mean? But I don't know, was really good. But for anybody that's listening and wants to go back to listen to the rest of these archives, of this particular archive, you'll be able to do so after 12:30 tonight, and it'll be on MHHS Blog Talk Radio, Eyes Wide Open. You know what I mean? MHHS Eyes Wide Open. And again, big shout out to Najib Zavar L for posting it on the YouTubes as well. But I don't know. We could keep going in, or what's going on? You want to add on or take callers?
No, we can callers, but also you have Sons of Allah this Thursday as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And
we'll be getting it in.
On law. We're
this
packed.
Sunday.
We're packed.
Standing on law this Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll take some calls.
Annie, you're not feeling well. I got your message, but you're all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Caller 703-608. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Mixon. Caller 703-608. Caller 443-376. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Mixon.
Islam. I am Hassan RVBey at Northwestern Exum. How's my family?
Fine. How are you?
Well,
good. I'm good. I think Brother Devon Robinson Ill is on the line with me too. Was briefly saying hey to the family. It's an excellent broadcast. Earlier when you were speaking about the sister, I may be, I guess, looking at it and finding the beauty in it. You know, I know there's a story in the Helios Bibliothèque where the disciples were walking past a decaying head of an animal, and the disciples were like, ew, oh, it's putrid. Oh, look at the maggots coming out of it. Oh, it's so wretched. And it said in the Helios Bibliothèque that Yeshua, and I don't remember the particular chapter or verse, but Yeshua, the only thing that he could say was, look at how beautiful its teeth are, though, while everyone else was pointing out the ugliness of the situation. So with the sister who was achieving these quote-unquote accolades, I was just, in observing how it was being described, I just felt it pressed upon my spirit to just say, wow, they really gave her an out. Now, I mean, I may be the only one seeing it that way, but her interest in law seemed to be, for lack of a better word, hereditary. Mm-hmm. Because if I recall correctly, for the record, it was stated that this is a Moabite mother.
Yes.
Who was dealing with, you know, my apologies, I yield. What did you say, beloved?
No, I didn't want to cut the wisdom. I said, in fact, she is. She is.
Indeed. So I was looking at it like, from my perspective, like, okay, cool. She doesn't have to lose the interest in law. She can just, you know, re-venue where she's doing it, or even in her state of mind, re-venue how she's doing it and how she's seeing it. Because the love and the zeal and the want to do law, however she's doing it, that's obviously there. It's just, you know, the arena in which she was doing it in, like, you know, she's a lion trying to go to hyena law school, And the hyenas are like, nah, she's coming up too fast. You gotta let her go. That's fine. Come on over here with the rest of the pride. You know what I mean? And really stand on your nationality. And I just only wanted to, point that out. I know, I know why, but I just saw beauty in that situation more than a loss. I saw more of a gain. And I just hope that the ancestors can put out there in the universe, and maybe it can hit that sister in a way that she can see it as such as well. But with that, I yield the floor. Islam?
Yes. That is a good lesson point there, because when one door closes, another one surely opens. And a lot of things that we think is bad is really leading us to the path of what we need and direction in which we need to go. Islam on that.
Islam, this is Brother Divine Robinson L. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, peace and love to you.
Hey, peace and love, family. I just wanted to just extend my humble gratitude to the family. I do a lot of Facebook Lives on Facebook, and people are always asking me questions where they can go study. And, I'm always excited to send, our family members, to RVBey. And I just wanted to, just personally thank you guys for providing, RVBey as a platform, where family can go and study. Because like I tell people, at the end of the day, it's not about me. Because if it was not for the information that you guys provide for us, I wouldn't even be able, to demonstrate the way that I've been able to demonstrate. So, I just want to, and every time I do a video, I'm always conscious of the fact that I do, pay my respects, to Mother Rosmaraya, to Mother Anna E, and to our brother, Ms. Raim, as well as Brother Abdullah and Brother Tariq Bey. Because like I try to explain to people, it's not about the individual, it's about us being a collective and basically doing what we charged to do, which is uplift fallen humanity. So I just wanted to just put that out on the record, that I'm just, greatly humbled, for the opportunity that I've been given by way of, RVBey publication. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Islam. Lastly, family, before we go, Mother Anna E, we love you, and we want you to feel well, because who we going to have to be tough on us when we really need it? And I mean that with all sincerity. So I yield the floor. Islam, peace and love, family.
That was really good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I think we have Cujo here. Oh my God, is that you, Cujo?
Iron Sheik, what's good? Where you at?
Islam Cujo. All right, maybe.
Oh, come on, brother. Come on, brother. Press 1. Get on the line, man. What's really good?
Maybe he pressed 1 by error. I don't know. Oh, and maybe he might be muted.
You might have him muted.
Oh, he's unmuted. All right, well, I'll leave him unmuted. Let's see if we got another caller. Caller 317-681. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Nixon.
Islam, this is Goldell Bay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could hear you.
Okay. I just got one question. I realized I done made an error with this birth certificate, and I was studying
Talk
this
a little
information.
louder. Okay, go ahead.
Information. Okay. My question is, though, I've already made the error of authenticating the birth certificate, and but I've already sent, and I sent my my writs probably some months afterwards. Is it an issue where I might have to go back and try to undo that authentication?
The last thing you do negates the other thing. Yeah. So that negates whatever else that's in law, and that's what it does. But I don't know all the particulars that there's so many different types, I think, of people doing birth certificate redemption bull crap that, I don't know what other things are affected by it, so that when you come up against, really ultimately what happens is when you come up against the state agencies, because that's what they are, they'll try to use that against you. Now, when you say, well, no, this is my this is my affidavit of fact or lawful notice that negates that, well, they're going to fight you like they fight those who come clean to this. That's why it's so sad that our people are wasting time and energy trying to do workarounds on it. For whatever reasons they may have. There's 1,000 reasons. Lack of knowledge, somebody said so, whatever. That when we come straight with it, that's the challenge for them. All they want is for you not to come straight with it. So you're gonna have you just had to get on this horse one way or another, and that's what the force to make changes is about. However you get on it, you're gonna have to get on it, and therefore you would have to stand stronger on your position of your national status in your taking your place amongst the affairs of man. You would have to stand stronger than the next person, because, see, the effort and energy that was put into the fake stuff that somebody made money off of or just thought was right or whatever it was, the effort and energy that has to be put into that was put into that, we all need to put into where we ultimately are going to have to be on the end, because it's really about lower self, higher self, angels and demons, orientals and accidentals, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Two nations, indivisible, because we brought them into the constitutional fold of government, and if you don't know that, you're injured, because when we say that, we have to know why, how, and what is the law, what is the constitutional fold of government that governs everyone, including them that they're escaping from. And they've been escaping from it for so long, and it's been working for so long because we didn't know or whatever, suffering from lack of knowledge, like that. So ultimately, you got to go down this road. All of them, all the birth certificate redemptors, all the UCCers that thought they were finding sovereignty in a commercial activity. Are they really freaking serious? All right? So not to put any damper on you, but that's what you got to do, and you're going to have to study triple, double time, because they're going to throw that in your face, and you are going to have to be able to defend it as much or more as some people now who've been being who they are with great accomplishment, and now because somebody who didn't study, and he mentioned a couple of weeks ago, goes into making the Moorish nation a freaking corporation, makes it even harder. Now we got to qualify it. Why? Because they're going to look at that as being what, they'll take that bull crap and they'll use that. But they don't want you to be who you are, because it proves who they are not. So ultimately, we all have to unite on that one thing, and we will be forced to do so. Now, those who don't do it, it doesn't matter, because, it's for those who have eyes to see and ears to listen on the for real, and they'll just be washed away, and they'll be fodder. That's it. That's all, because nature don't play. And it is the time now for retribution justice to be at a high, because too much crap is on the soil, on the back of this mother planet. Too much crap is on. It's like having somebody on your back. You can only stand but so much. So the moving of the earth into another location geographically or astronomically, astronomy is location and astrology is effects. So the moving into the planet is causing it to speed up. It's causing it to warm up, and those who are not meant to be are going to be eliminated. It has nothing to do with anyone's control of that. It has to do with, and I'm going to make this an analogy to even your question, it has to do with, are you going to be on the side of nature, or are you going to be and use the forces of nature, or are you going to be against it? And it's the same thing. People who think they're trying to get to that divine place, all right, are trying all these other things, but that's the wrong thing to try because it's not meant for you. It doesn't make the statement other than to make the statement that you yet know what is what and who is who and who you are and who you are not. To even think to have to do that, but it's not your fault, totally, but it is your responsibility, totally. It is your obligation, totally. And that reality is what we're forced into knowing, period. So we're all one. You know, you have people say, oh, one, you know, one, or whatever they say, all this one, or whatever like that. Well, really, really one. Universe. Uni means one. Same. One. Uni and verse is words, period. And until we all have the same words, which is what jurisdiction is. We just talked about that. You can't say you live in New Jersey. That's wrong jurisdiction. You can't say you live in New York. That's wrong jurisdiction. I don't care what you think about it. And I don't mean you personally. You can't do that and have the right word. It's not going to go down. It's not. You can try everything and anything you want. It's not. And eventually we're going to get to knowing that and speak the same one language in terms of jurisdiction. So I say to you that whatever you put down last, that's what goes down, but you are going to have to defend it like never before. You're going to fight as hard, not that you're going to fight harder, because all of us are fighting. But you are going to have to do that. The train is moving. The boat has left the dock. If you can swim fast enough to catch up with it, then good for you. You may have to be, if it's the train that's moving, I'm laughing because somebody gave me this analogy and it just hit me to use it right now. If the train is moving down the track, and it is, and there's 20 cars on that train, you might not get car number 3, but you might be able to get on at car number 19 or whatever, as long as you're on it and you know what I'm saying, and getting there. So don't feel badly about it, and I'm not saying that you said you did, but the answer to your question is that another writ negates another writ. So everybody is going to end up having to say the same thing, which is why at RVBey Publications we have the same exact writ. And, you know, we have people, I want to change it to say this, and I want to change it to say that. And we're like, look, this is all about one word. Everything that you need to say, and I know all the positions that apply to you is in this document. I know it for a fact, and if you don't know it, you need to read it. Now, it's funny because I don't mean to go on, but I have to, because I got an email today where some guy told me, boy, I wish I could find it, that he was told that we were stealing people's estates. We, RVBey Publications. And his reverend and his church said that we were stealing people's estates or something like that. I said, boy, you better go back and look up what the Christian Intercaterra Divina is as far as your reverend goes. But as far as stealing anyone's estate, apparently you have not done any studies at all, or you got us confused with someone else. Because the only thing we do is assist people in making that declaration and proclamation. That is it, and that is all. We print a national identification card because Aboriginal and Indigenous people have the right to establish their own identity, which must be respected, okay? And we also help you with making that declaration and proclamation. And then the rest is for you to start being who it is you say you are, all right? So You got us confused with stealing estates because estates can't be really stolen. They can be escheated. And it's interesting because they're saying that we're stealing people's estate or whatever like that. I'm like, and where do you get that from? Anywhere on the site where we ask you to give us your estate? Your estate is my estate.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's by far in the top 3 most wildest accusations I ever heard, as far as, you know, what RVBey publications are doing, you know, is doing what we're doing, stealing people's estate, and that coming from a reverend.
No. This is coming from somebody. Yeah, it is coming from a reverend indirectly. Yeah.
Coming from a reverend. And then whoever believes that, see, that's the, all due respect. I'm not saying they bugged out, but that's feeble-mindedness. Because if they knew the true history, and this is why, you know, a big acknowledgement to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz as well, because he was telling you in a particular clip, you know, that the word black Muslims came from, you know, a quote-unquote, a so-called Negro preacher. So if you already know, you should already know. If you know your history, you know the origins of Christianity, which Noble Drew Ali made sure to leave that point. It's not something that began in America. It's not something that began in what they call Africa today. It has its origins in Rome. So to see somebody working under that and then alleging other Moors to be stealing, you know, states and things like that, like, I know we don't have anything to do with those types of actions, but you might need to really watch the so-called reverend or the preacher. You know what I'm saying? And because he's working for the Christians, and that has nothing to do, because I was speaking about this the other day, and it's something going on where people are trying to quote bash people because they have conversations about the love of Jesus or the love of Yeshua. You know what I mean? And they get that confused with being Christians. Like, I could study Yeshua all day. That does not make me a Christian. And in historical context, in philosophical context, it doesn't mean I'm a Christian because I study Yeshua. But these people won't tell you that. Not to get off the point, but what I'm saying is that, you know, Christian is something we can't be. And for a so-called Moor, I mean, not so-called Moor, but a Moor under the Christian doctrine of being Negro, of being black, you could probably go to the so-called reverend and get your slave bond marriage document for $50. You know what I mean? 50 notes and things like that. To have the nerve to allege a load of your Moors are trying to steal somebody's estate when their whole operation is to keep you in bondage, it's a hypocrisy. I don't even think that, you know, that should even further be entertained, but that's just me, though, you know, or acknowledged. So it just lets you know, you can use that as a thermometer of where the Christian agenda is at right now, you know. That's how I see it, you know what I mean? Because you had different, what we call quote-unquote sellouts, working for the foreigners. They want to be Christians. They want to be U.S. citizens. And, you know, they're proud of the red, white, and blue and all of these things. So, I mean, you know, take all of that into consideration, because these are the same people who had their hand in labeling certain Moors blacks. The dear brethren El Hajj Malik El Shabazz told you that, you know, the brand black Muslims came from a so-called Negro preacher, and that as Muslims, we're the same as those who call themselves Muslims. It's only one people who call themselves Muslims. I don't know nobody else, you know what I mean, who calls themselves Muslims, except for Moors. Al-Moroccans, Americans, you know what I mean? Not that that's not something that doesn't apply, but the fact that...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I found the email. I just realized this little world called me Boo, also, by the way.
It's what?
Call me Boo. You know how you say, hey, Boo. It says, I feel like a fool because people are clearly saying online that you guys are stealing people's estate, and my church is saying that my name has not been recorded anywhere. Something just don't feel right, and things are not right here. Well, first of all, you got to be the one that makes a lawful notice, not a recording per se.
But not to cut your wisdom. But first of all, if they're feeling like something isn't right, their intuition is telling them the truth. But go on, my fault, because that whole scenario, you know, Facebook, anybody can say anything on these social media sites. That doesn't make it true. It's not verifiable facts. So go ahead, my fault.
Well, here's the thing. If he's talking about the proclamation, then he is the one that is supposed to send them as lawful notice. That's number one. And they're not going to be putting that out on their media websites either. So what the heck is this preacher talking about? What his preacher is talking about is he himself is under a 501c, under the jurisdiction of a state, and he makes sure that when it's time for you to get married, that that you go down and you get register with them and he marries you with the state. So if the state doesn't have you down, which is, then you're not considered recorded from that perspective. So I just told the guy he needs to, well, first of all, I think he got us confused with someone else, and he needs to study to show himself approved, and that he needs to read the Intercaterra Divina as far as the preacher is concerned to find out what the Christian intent is. And that was it, But I just realized when I looked at him, he called me Boo. Ain't that something? He must be Boo, like boo-hoo.
Yeah,
the brother's on the line, and we want. Huh?
Nah, I was just saying, don't fall for the sweet talk, because you already know jigaboo is a derogatory term, as it was mentioned in ancient and modern Britons. So you don't even want to call yourself that. You know what I mean?
Very
Real
good.
facts. You don't even want to call yourself that. So, yeah. But it's a lot. It's a lot. So I just want to read this quick excerpt before we go into the next call and things of that nature.
Yeah, we want to make sure that the caller on the line got his question answered. I think he did.
Yes, Islam. Yeah. I definitely did, and I'm grateful for the information. But definitely, like you said, I just have to fight harder. The fight is in me. So I made this error, and it's my full intention to continue to wake up and stand on who I am. So I appreciate everything.
I got a question for you real quick, though.
Okay.
Did you do one of the ones that you have to choose where you're going to use it in, like what country or whatever like that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What country did you choose? I'm just curious.
I made a mistake on mine. I actually put Asia and America. Asia and America.
Okay. Well, that's not bad in terms of that, because Asia, or Asa, is the name of the entire planet. We are Asiatics in that respect. Okay, that's why it says Asiatic nation. That means the nations of the earth. That's what it means. Okay? And the Aboriginal indigenous people of the nations of the earth, all of them are dark melanated people, various copper tone. You do not find any European as an Aboriginal indigenous person on any place on the four corners of this earth. And so America, being the largest continent, really, because it's North America, South America, and Central America, is the ancestral estate. So that's not wrong, but the manner in which you used it is wrong in terms of the birth certificate redemption. See, what people are looking for, if they were truly looking to discount, or unvalidate or void the birth certificate, what they need to understand, it's already void. Why? Because it in itself, I don't give a damn who signed it or who didn't, because some birth certificates were not signed. It in itself, in its intrinsic nature, ab initio, ab meaning coming from initially, in its initial state, is an instrument that proves human trafficking. Period. Period and period. Therefore, it is toxic. Therefore, it doesn't matter what they do with it. It's a bond. We could give a shit about what they do with it. It's not you, never was you. That's why you exhale anything that refers to it. But so it being void ab initio is something that you, and being an instrument that proves human trafficking, you don't want to have anything to do with it. But because we give so much power to what these modern Europeans do, to every piece of paper that they put out, to everything they do, we actually believe it has some validity where we are concerned, and it does not. Because the moment you confess or express out of your tongue who you are, that is it and that is all. And it absolutely, like I told you earlier, negates the birth certificate. The birth certificate was established by corporations that have nothing to do with you and your status, particularly once you declare it. 99.9% of everything out there is voided for you. So you just have to learn how to navigate with that. And you have to also learn how to live with it within contracts that you may make from this point on in your new name, not in your old. Okay, do all new business in your new free national name or appellation. Period. That's what this whole thing is about. So if it's an instrument it's from them, how in the hell can you do anything with it? Who are you to say that you're going to go and do something with this piece of paper of which they have the original, even though you ain't got an authentic copy of the original? All you got was an authentic copy. It's already authenticated. It already has their seal on it. So what are you talking about? Well, I'm going to authenticate it. It's already authenticated. It's already sealed. It's done. It's a done deal. But you weren't on the board, the corporate board that established such an instrument or process. You weren't on it. So you don't have the authority to do that. You have to look at it for what it is. It's proof of human trafficking. And that's where the prophet said, oh, don't throw that away. But he told you to do all new stuff in your new name, so you know that he wasn't saying necessarily to use it. He said don't throw it away. Why? Because it is the proof of human trafficking. Once you study, you know. So it proves that they're doing human trafficking through commerce. It proves that that's their intent. So again,
Islam.
You didn't do so bad in that choice, but you're not bad. Islam, peace and love to you.
Islam, I appreciate everything. Islam.
All right, you good.
All right, Islam. All right. We do not have any more callers. However, if anyone has a question, comment, or concern, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will take your question. Other than that, I don't think we have any more callers. And Cujo hasn't come back.
And you're not feeling too well. So, with that being said...
Wait. We got another caller. Hold on.
Okay.
Caller 972-839. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Alexa. Caller 972-839.
Islam, family.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, family? We up late tonight once again in the house. I'd like to say, yes, indeed. I love y'all family. My heart goes out with y'all and the work that y'all doing. The prophet, I know he's smiling. Guess what? He got them 7 aliens and them spirits around y'all. That's right. This is Abdul Malik Shakur Bey, Northwest of Mexico from the Texas Republic. Yes, sir. I am once again in the house with my family and what you all are breaking down, what we need to know about the jurisdiction and the laws of this court system when we get caught up in it. And it is very expedient. The issues will be transversed against you and be used against you if you do not know the correct procedure, the writs, and know how to acknowledge the writs and understand the writs that the suits that have been issued to you. We must study to not only approve to ourselves, but have the right words and the adequate laws and terminology to combat the ordinances, statutes, and codes, because we are Moors, and we are learning that we're Moors, and those who are more advanced than us. And then it's a test. I put it this way because somebody like the big bad wolf knock on the door. Who is it? I'm the wolf. Let me in. No. You must be qualified with the status and the compliance and know the jurisdiction if you are in or you are not in, and it will tell you. And don't rely on the UCC, and you will have to know the proper law and the appropriate manner in which version of the UCC that applies to you and what cases are, should I say, tickets that has been issued to you to bring you from where you at, interrupting your daily duties to come in front of these Europeans to establish yourself as a non-pro jurisdiction as they claim. But we are Moors and we study the law. I've been to their so-called court oriental session 3 times. The last time I went there, the judge told the corporate lawyer that he needed to go and study because I remember in my last writ, and they try, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? I can watch a movie and get better progress out of that. Anyway, they tried that, but the limitation, the ladder that they were trying to climb, they did not succeed because thanks to you guys, RVBey publication, that is my first direction that anyone asks. Come my way, go to RVBey publication. Start at the top. Don't skip over, because guess what? If you miss a step, we know in life, if you don't put left foot in front of right, if you right-handed, right foot left, you're bound to trip yourself. So the proceedings are walk accordingly, do what you need to do, study, and test yourself. Make sure that you on point and cue. Cross the T's, dot all the I's before you go in front of these people. And if you don't know what you're doing, study. And if you know anyone that can have, should I say, more wisdom in the study part, get with them. Do not catch in one area and go out of the other, because we're the age of Aquarius, we're the age of knowing. We have all types of technology here in the European genetic stuff. It's already been here because they have kept us down so long, but Allah, as Prophet Nubuju, Allah prepared him and sent him to North America because we needed him the most. And you know the condition that these Moors were in, claiming to be something that I put on the shelf. Well, I'm going today and give me a loaf of wheat bread. I want Reynolds. Negro, colored, black, and African American. Yeah, right. But let me not hold my boy too long, because you have a great show. I always have a great show. And the people are listening, and I don't have too many call in. I'm putting it to the public. Don't be scared. RVBey publication. You can get a 4th edition Black Law Dictionary. Look up all the terminology that they're prescribing. It is not statute, codes, or order. It is law. Because everything that's lawful is not law. So go and find out what is lawful, and you can stand on the law. In your spirit, you at a 45-degree angle. Islam, family, Islam.
Right. All right. Good to hear from you.
Always good to hear you all. Miz, what's up, Miz?
Man, all is well, good brother. You know it's all well when we hear you call in. You know what I mean? Like you almost like our extra host, man. So it's always good to hear from you, man. I know we on the straight path when you call in, man. So peace to you and your wife.
Look, don't make me smile within my spirit. You guys are on the straight path because Allah has called you all, and guess what, though? You didn't say, did somebody call me? You guys heard the call, and y'all went forward, and y'all are blessing the Moors and Moabites with the knowledge that has been passed down through study, and you bring forward nothing that didn't come out of Houdini box of his so-called magician tricks, but you have studied and you have applied it, and guess what? Law works. Law is truth. Law upholds the universe. Law comes from Allah, and that's all I have to say, and I stand on it, Moors and Moabites.
Well, hey, listen, I got to tell you this. We used to say, as Ms. was saying earlier, that because you would always call in, and it seems like it was at the end of the show, and your voice is so distinctive, and your message is always in line and positive and on point. We were like, if we ever went out on to do a physical place or show on the road, I don't know how to say it. I think we should definitely invite him to come in, because your voice is like, it was, I know you were tied up in doing some things, you and your wife, and working some lawful things that y'all had to take care of, as we all get. But we're like, he's like a part of this show, because he comes around the same time. He always brings a positive message, usually from Prophet Nubuju Ali, or just a positive message on this information. And again, your voice being so distinctive, we're like, yeah, we got to make him part of the group.
You're trying to overwhelm me. But I love you guys once again. And if I put it like this here, if I am assistant to anything, and you know what? My neighbor across the street, she was having a difficulty taking something out of the car. I went over there, and then before I got on the porch, my neighbor just in the opposite direction. I went over there also. So I'm just a regular handyman. Islam.
Islam. Oh, well, keep being yourself, bro. We appreciate you over here, man.
We love you. And I put this out here to the public. I'm going to let you go. I'm not keep you long because I know you have somebody else on long. The callers, RVBey publication has blessed us. This is the family. This is our family. And they are bringing us together not only to make us feel good. You know, we all want to feel good. But legal, jurisprudence, and legalese is legalese. But we are not at ease. It is a war going on for our babies and our babies' babies. And please raise yourself up with study, and open your mouth. Allah didn't give you a mouth and them senses for nothing, for you just to listen and shut up the rest of Islam. I'm out of here.
Islam. Word. Say that. Cool. That's what's happening.
All right.
Mm-hmm. So we good? We on to the next, or is that a wrap up?
It's Pro Appreciation Week now through September 18th at the Home Depot. And to say thanks, we're knocking up to 20% off pro-grade products like paint, tool storage, supplies you can use on the job, and the best brands of power tools, including select Makita power tools and batteries, just $99 all week. Nobody beats